Welcome back to Rinkside. I'm Michael Lahrman. Today we're going to be doing part 2, talking about the NHL as a product, how to market that product, and where I see the optimism and excitement for the league going forward. Before I get started, I want to introduce our new sponsor, Violent Gentlemen. Established in 2011, Violent Gentlemen Clothing Company came onto the scene with the intention of creating the products they felt the hockey community was missing. Timeless hockey apparel and accessories built for fans and players, regardless of what team you cheer for. I couldn't be happier to have Violent Gentlemen on as a partner, and please go check out their website to see all the latest designs. If you're stressed out about the playoffs, maybe you could use one of these stress pucks. There's so many things to choose from on the website. Please check them out. Give them a follow on Instagram at Violent Gentlemen. And with that, let's get into it. Today, I'm going to be doing a breakdown of players 24 years and younger that are playing in this year's playoffs. The number of players that I name per team directly correlates with how bullish I am on that franchise. Meaning, if you have 3 players under 24 years old on your playoff roster right now, I'm buying. Roster construction has changed a lot over the years, and with the cap limitations that we have in this day and age, we're seeing more and more of these players crack the NHL lineup earlier and earlier. In just a minute, I'm going to be heading down to Crypto.com Arena to see Game 4 of the Oilers and the Kings. So let's go ahead and start off with that series. First off, Quinton Byfield. A lot of people have tried to call QB a bust, but you see a kid playing on the top line with Kopitar and Kempe. I mean, what else can you say? The kid can flat out fly. He's 6'5", 225 pounds at 20 years old. I think we need to cut him a break here. I think he's playing a really solid game right now, and it's just a matter of time before we see him really start to light up the score sheet. 23-year-old Gabe Vilardi's back in the lineup after missing some time with injury. He's got some of the best hands on the team. I mean, just watch the tape. 21-year-old Arthur Kaliev has been a healthy scratch as of late, but when he gets in the game, you better keep an eye on him. If he's on that face-off dot, he's a legitimate sniper, and he's going to beat you. And for the Oilers, they have 21-year-old defenseman Philip Broberg playing that 7th D position, and he's got one job: play shutdown defense. And staying in the West with the Minnesota-Dallas series, we're going to be talking about Matthew Boldy. The 22-year-old winger has been lighting it up, carried the team at the end of the season with Kaprizov down. I think this kid's going to be a future star in the league. And, I'm not breaking any news here. It's just a name that I think we're going to have to be keeping an eye on. I think it's a name that's going to be ringing out throughout these playoffs. 20-year-old Brock Faber made his NHL debut this month. He's now playing big minutes in the playoffs. He came over from the trade that saw Kevin Fiala go to the LA Kings. The kid's name's been ringing out already this playoffs. I think we're going to see a lot from Brock Faber in the future. I am definitely bullish on the Dallas Stars. You have to start with 23-year-old Jason Robertson. The kid was 7th in scoring in the league this year with 109 points. But the reality is, you make your name in this league in the playoffs. And another 23-year-old on the team, Miro Heiskanen, is the prototype for an NHL defenseman these days. Shut down, he's got great offensive prowess, and we're going to be hearing his name in that Norris conversation for a lot of years to come. And kind of a surprise for me is Wyatt Johnston, the 19-year-old who finished tied for first in goals this year for rookies. I mean, the kid's unbelievable. He's playing big-time minutes, top 6, power play, all the good stuff. And though he hasn't gotten going in this year's playoffs, I expect him to turn that around any minute now. And you can't talk about the Dallas Stars without talking about the excellent goaltending from Jake Ottinger. Now, he's had a little bit of a rocky start so far this playoffs, but if you remember how he played last year, it's how he got on everybody's radar, and I expect him to turn it around and really get the team going and trying to push them into that next round. And in the Colorado-Seattle series, we're going to start off with Cale Makar. Pretty sure I made the 24 age cutoff what it is because I wanted to talk about Cale Makar. He's already got a Norris, he's already a Stanley Cup champion, and as long as Cale Makar is healthy, the Avs have a chance. Now let's talk about his understudy. 21-year-old defenseman Bowen Byram has already made giant leaps to joining the list of top defensemen in the NHL. And on the other side, for the Seattle Kraken, look no further than Matty Beniers. He has to be the front-runner for the Calder Trophy. He's already had a pretty darn good playoffs, and if the Seattle Kraken are going to advance, it's likely going to be on the back of Matty Beniers. Ellie Tolvanen made an immediate impact on the team after being picked up on waivers this year. I mean, Ron Francis deserves the Jim Gregory Award. They're giving the Habs all they can handle. There's no question they're going to be a tough out. Now let's move on to the East. The Carolina Hurricanes and their leading scorer this year, Martin Necas. He really stepped up his game this year, and especially with injuries from Svechnikov and Pacioretty, there's a real opportunity for the young guys on this team to make a name for themselves. Guys like Seth Jarvis, he's really had a great playoff so far this year, and Jack Drury, I feel like it's just a matter of time before he gets on the score sheet. If the Carolina Hurricanes have to go to their backup goaltender, they have Kochetkov. This kid's a young stud. I believe he's going to be a perennial all-star for years to come, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him in the playoffs this year. Now, if the New York Islanders stand a chance at all in this series, they're going to need to get more goal scoring, and I think they're going to be looking for guys like Noah Dobson to get themselves into that offensive game a little bit more. Now, in the Tampa-Toronto series, we're getting our first look at Matthew Knies. 6'3", 20 years old. The moment doesn't seem to be too big for him. The puck follows him all around the ice, and it's just a matter of time before we see him start to light up the score sheet. And for the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're going to need to get a little bit more out of Brandon Hagel. The 24-year-old has great scoring prowess, and I'd expect him to pick it up in the next couple games. Now, in the Boston-Florida series, there's not a lot to talk about as far as youth goes, except for Eetu Lesterainen. This Finnish forward is going to need to pick up his game if the Florida Panthers are going to stand a chance at all against the Boston Bruins. And finally, moving on to the Rangers-Devils series, we're going to go ahead and start off with the kid line. These guys made a big name for themselves and really made a splash in the league last playoffs. What are they going to be able to do this year? Led by Philip Hedl, former first overall pick Alexis Lafreniere, and Kaapo Kakko. These guys have a lot of responsibility playing on that third line and giving depth scoring to the New York Rangers. We'll see how it all plays out, but right now they're playing a great game, and it's why the Rangers have a steady lead 2-1 in this series. And the New Jersey Devils, led by captain Nico Hischier, he finally has some pieces around him to make that big push. Superstars. Jack Hughes, probably one of the best prospects in the league, and may go down as one of the greatest American hockey players of all time. It's just a matter of time before we see this kid on every billboard, on every cereal box, wherever we see these guys now. An absolute stud, who was recently joined by his younger brother, Luke Hughes, after finishing his career at the University of Michigan. We see him as a black ace right now. It's just a matter of time, too, before I feel like we see him in the lineup. Now, after losing the first two games at home, Lindy Ruff goes to Akira Schmid. The young goaltender went into MSG and got a W to make the series 2-1, gave him a little bit of stability. I think they'll probably go to him in Game 4. Next year, we'll see Connor Bedard, the consensus #1 overall pick. Will he be able to lead his team to the playoffs? The optimism I have for the NHL and the market share that they have in the U.S. is solely riding on these young superstars. The league will flourish if they find a way to market these young players to the new fans, and when we get those new fans and their eyes on the game, we have to make a pitch that makes them want to stay. The playoffs are a gauntlet. We're seeing superstars drop the gloves. We're seeing the crowds in attendance engaged like never before. Ticket prices have skyrocketed because of the increased demand, and we need to capitalize on this attention. I look forward to making more hockey content for you as the playoffs move along. Who do you think has the best chance at making a run for the Stanley Cup after the first week? I couldn't squeeze all of the optimism that I wanted to into this video, so I'm going to make a part 3. There's a lot of promise with the NHL right now. We've never had a more star-studded league. In part 3, I'm going to be showcasing my favorite NHL content creators and influencers. They've been a big reason why we've been able to draw more attention to the game this year. And there are a lot of them, and that content deserves its own video. Thanks again for coming by. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, share, all the things. Please check out our new sponsor, Violent Gentlemen. Check out the website, their Instagram. I'm so excited for the playoffs this year, and I can't wait to keep making content for you guys as the playoffs roll along. We'll see you next time for part 3.